Hi, in today's video I'll be doing something a little bit different. I'm doing a comparison between all of the generation of Dyson cordless vacuums. So these are starting off with the V6, the V7, the V8 and the V10. Now the V10 is the latest model in the range of cordless vacuums, and what we want to do is just to compare them all. So it's not just things like the suction, although we'll be comparing that a bit later on. What we'll be testing are things like the bin capacity, the weight, just to see how they've varied over the years. So we're fully charged, let's get going. So the first thing to note is the actual size of the vacuums. Over the years you can tell as you look at the V6 compared to the 7, 8 and the 10 at the end that they get slightly taller. So it's changed slightly. That's mainly down to things like the bin design on the new V10. As with any cordless vacuum, weight is very important. You don't want it to be too heavy when you're vacuuming. So what you will find is that as the generations have gone on, they've got slightly heavier. So starting with the V6, that one is just over 2 kilograms. The V7 is 2.3. The V8 is 2.6 and the new V10 is a touch heavier at 2.7 kilograms. So not a huge difference, but if you are going from a V6 to a V10, then you are going up by quite a bit. So the next thing to talk about is the bin capacity of the vacuums. As we start off on the V6, as you can see by today's standards that's a fairly small bin. That one's only got 0.4 litre capacity. As you go up to the V7 and the V8, it's actually the same bin, so basically it's the same design, and both of these are a much bigger 0.54 litres. And as you go up to the daddy of the vacuum range, the new V10, the bin capacity on this one is 0.76 litres. So if you are comparing, say, the V10 and the older V6, then you've got almost twice the capacity, which when you're vacuuming a large house, then that can make a huge difference as to the number of times you need to empty the vacuum. So over the years, one thing that Dyson have done is to increase the runtime on the vacuums, and it started off with the V6 at 20 minutes, and bear in mind these are the maximum run times. So what you will find is if you're using the maximum suction, that will reduce it by quite a bit. But basically here, so you've got 20 minutes on the V6. As you go to the V7, that's a 30-minute maximum runtime. The V8 had 40 minutes, and the V10 is up to 60 minutes. So what we'll do now is to compare the suction on each of the vacuums. I've got some rice on my Dyson mat, and what we'll do is we'll compare them equally. So we've got the same type of head on each model, although they do actually come with different accessories. What I've done is I've put the direct drive on each of the V7, V8 and the V10, and it's got the standard head on the V6 which it comes with. They'll all be on maximum suction, so it is a fair comparison. So let's give it a go. So although all of the vacuums cope very well actually with sucking at the rice, I did notice that especially as you go to the top of the range, mainly to the V8 and especially the V10, that the suction on the carpet was a lot better. And also to note that on the V6, because it's got a smaller head, then if you are doing the vacuuming it will take longer, clearly because it's a smaller head, compared to the V7, V8 and the V10 that have got the larger direct drive head. So the next challenge is a little bit more difficult. This is breakfast cereal. This might be a bit more challenging for the vacuums. as they're a lot bigger than rice. So let's give it a go. So first of all, let's have a go with the V6. And the next one is the V7. Give the V8 a go. And then the last one is the V10. So what I tried to do was just basically do one pass for each vacuum to keep it fair. You will notice that on the left hand side that's the V6. That's the amount we've got left. Then the V7, then the V8, and at the V10 it's pretty much clear. To be fair, the tool, the direct drive head on the V7, the V8 and the V10 wouldn't be the ideal tool to get up large particles like breakfast cereal. The ideal tool would be the fluffy head. What I'll do, just to show you, on the V8 I'll show you how effective it is to have the fluffy head and do the same, basically same pass with the cereal. So this is the fluffy head. It's fairly standard on most of the Absolute or Absolute Plus models. It is a very good one to look out for. Most of the models like the Animal or some of the other models like Total Clean, they don't come with this head. It would mainly be used for larger particles like breakfast cereal. I will show you on this carpet to see hopefully how effective it is. Now at this stage all of the Dysons have got quite a bit in the bin, so the next thing to show you is how easy they are to empty. As you can see in this one, the V6, we've got a mixture of rice and cornflakes, so I'll just give you a quick demonstration to show you how easy or difficult they are to get rid of all the rubbish. So this one to start off with is the V6, and basically what you do, you've got a red switch here. Ideally if you hold it like that with both thumbs, that just makes it a little bit easier. You press it down and then the bottom will drop out. And that's quite effective. Not that easy, because what you can find as it gets a little bit older, that can become very stiff. And especially if you have got a lot of dirt in here, we do have these for demonstration, and if you get a lot of dirt in here, that can become very stiff and that can become quite difficult at the bottom. So the next one is the V7. And on this one, completely different design, you've actually got a handle on the top. So rather than having the switch down the side, as on the V6, you've got the handle on the top, and all you do is you pull it up, like that. Again, what you can find is if it is very full, and you've got a lot of dirt in here, that can become a little bit stiff, but it does loosen up over time, and then to shut it, you just do that. So that's easy. The V8 is actually the same as the V7. So exactly the same design, you just pull up the handle here, and then all the dirt just drops out the bottom. And on this, the newer V10, it is a completely different design. On this, you've got a red switch under here, and what you need to do is to push it, and then the bin will open at the bottom. So I'll just show you that. And as you can see, it's a really effective design actually, completely different to all of the other vacuums, but because it's a much larger canister, then obviously it can hold a lot more dirt, but when it comes to shutting it, You just push that and then you're ready to go. So the next test is a little bit different. What I've got here is a glass of rice, and I've got each vacuum, so that's the V6 with the crevice tool on. What I want to do is I want to time to see how long it will take to empty the glass of rice. So I've got the vacuums ready, glass of rice ready, stopwatch ready. Let's have a go. So the first one to try is the V6. Got the stopwatch ready. Let's go. So that one did it in a fairly impressive 6.04 seconds. And the next one is the V7. And that one quite a bit quicker, 4.06. And now we've got the V8. Wow, even quicker, that was only 3 seconds. This is the last one, the V10. Wow, 1.9 seconds. So very quick indeed. So I know the last test was a little bit crude, but basically it just proves that as the generations have gone on, that as you go up from the V6, V7, V8, V10, that the suction on them is getting a lot better. Clearly we haven't really talked about the price on these as comparisons. It's a little bit unfair. What I was trying to do was to compare the features and benefits and the suction rather than just concentrating on price all the time. Clearly what you'll find is as you go up through the range they do become more expensive, so it very much depends if things like the V8 or the V10 are within your budget. What I have done is I have provided some links below, so if you are interested in any of these vacuums then I've provided a couple of links to get them at competitive prices. I hope you enjoyed this video on comparing the V6, V7, V8 and V10 Dyson cordless models. Please give us a thumbs up on the YouTube video and leave any comments below. Thanks very much.